Hey guys, how you doing? Your instructor Jeff Giles. Hope everybody's been well. We haven't actually met for class in 2 weeks, which is kind of amazing. You figure 2 weeks ago on Monday I had a rescheduled baseball game, and this past Monday was the Easter holiday. I hope everybody had a good Easter and celebration. I wanted to record a short video that you can use to peruse and use for the class and hopefully get something out of, since I haven't been there to give you instruction there now in 2 weeks. Wanted to talk about pregame shows and what those are and what we conceive of them as being, what you should think of them as, and how we can implement them and apply them in this course and in your own broadcasting, which I hope that's been going well. Remember, 2 play-by-plays due so far, 2 sportscasts, 1 more a radio, and the second one more of like a roundtable kind of whip-around discussion. That's in the module section there in Blackboard. I think about my own history, and I think that's the best way to describe this. Like, whenever you see a pregame show, everything in it is designed to amp you up and make it so that you don't change the channel and you stay on the game. Now, a lot of times your favorite team, like, you're going to stay on that channel anyway. You're not going to go away. But, if it's a national game, NCAA tournament, MLB, NBA, NHL playoffs, like whatever it is, like they're getting a different audience than they normally have. And so they've got to find a way to make it palatable to the non-local viewer watching it however they can, right? So if you think about like the NBA and TNT, it's Shaquille O'Neal, it's Ernie Johnson, Charles Barkley on a lot of March Madness coverage, right? Like, these are known names, these are known commodities, and they know that they're going to get those to draw people in. Not saying you or I have got to have the star power of that for our pregame shows, but the kind of consensus is the same, right? That you're going to give your viewer, your listener, information on your pregame show they can't get anywhere else, right? Now, for me at Belmont Abbey, it's a little simpler. Like, I basically have an intro. I have kind of recapping the last game for whatever team that is. Then I'll have a break, 3 minutes long, because we use the pregame to kind of paper over the starting lineups and the anthem. That's a 3-minute break. Then I'll come back. Then I'll give the starting lineups. You should always have the starting lineups, whether a verbal or on the screen as graphic. And I know you guys have that there with Blue Frame. For both teams, again, you could have opposing fans watching, opposing parents, whatever. And just to use an example, like, I've had to do some games neutral, and I have one this week neutral I've done neutral for basketball, baseball, Conference Carolinas, acro and tumbling this week. And I'm going to have a lot of people tuning in that aren't Belmont Abbey fans or alumni, and so you got to cater to them, right? And you see the same thing now. The NHL is trying to duplicate the NBA to bring in the non-fan. They have Sean from Spit and Chicklets. It's a hockey podcast. They have Wayne Gretzky on there. They have Chris Chelios. So for hockey fans, known commodities. Even if you don't, you're like, oh, Wayne Gretzky, I'll check this out, right? And that's how they loop it in. Like, your job, just like when you're on air calling the game, is to make it warm and inviting, make people want to listen to you, stay tuned in, and see what happens as you tell the story of the game. The same thing with the pregame, right? You might have an open, like a national. We've seen this on like College Game Day. That's kind of a pregame show, right? They have the Tom Rinaldi feature, or the warm and fuzzy feeling feature story on somebody who passed away, or somebody who is playing in honor of his brother, or broke a record, or broke a bone, right? Or whatever it is. Like, they're bringing you in with these heartwarming stories. And again, I look at it as simplicity. When the level that I'm at and the level you're at, right, should always be an open. You want to welcome them. You want to tell them why it's important they should tune in. Tell them what happened for your team in the last game. Tell them what they should look forward to. We're always looking back and looking forward as well. And then beyond that, starting lineups should always be a segment. And I do this occasionally at Belmont Abbey. Sometimes with the volume of games I have at Belmont Abbey, I just don't have the time or the people, the resources to do it. A pregame interview, whether it's on radio, it's audio. You can record that with your iPhone now. Get a 1/4-inch jack to your mixer, plug it in, and kind of import the file. And even if not that, you should have a video segment, video interview on the pregame show, usually with you and the coach. Now, when I was at Trine University, we would do this, but again, I'd have a team of people setting up the camera on the tripod, putting up the backdrop, right? You have the school logo in the backdrop, lighting it, usually 3-point lighting. And then it would usually be about 5 questions. Again, we talked about question asking and interviewing. Usually I have like one specific question scripted, but usually it's just it's you and the coach talking, right? I mean, that's what people want to see. They want to see you as a human being. They want to see the humanity of the coach. They want to get something, again, that they can't normally get on your pregame show, which is, I want to see the humanity of this coach, right? Like, I want to see Dabo Sweeney or Roy Williams or Mike Krzyzewski. Like, all they normally see is them ranting and raving on the sideline, but you're giving them that inside view, that bird's eye view of the coach and getting to know his humanity again. So again, it's probably, I usually treat it as like a 5-minute coach interview, minimum of 3 minutes usually on a pregame show, and then one prepared question, one scripted question, and then, what do we know about interviewing, right? We want to ask an open-ended question. So it's, what happened on this last game that led you to the winning basket? What do you anticipate your lineup to be if there's an injury? What do you know about this player that I can now share this with the viewer, which they normally wouldn't tell you? And now that they're on camera and they have an obligation, usually at Division I level, it's in the coach's contract that they have to do the pregame show. So you're getting information, again, to your listener, your viewer, they don't normally get anywhere else. And then occasionally you might not have a coach interview available, so it might just be highlights from the last game. Some people include that in a pregame show. It might be a huge play or a winning goal or something that really gets the audience fired up, and they're going to say, I want to see what my team does this game, so I'm going to tune in today as well, right? So again, to review, open, and sometimes you'll see it's called a cold open, which is them going right to the 2 announcers with the hand mic at the rink. There might be a little bit of a video montage, but then it's right there with a little bit of music bed, and then them 2 talking, and you got the crowd panorama behind them, you've got the PA announcer, you've got all the energy, and that's supposed to get the viewer ramped up for the game. Cold open, commercial, recap of the last game, another commercial, and for my case it's a 6-minute commercial, so longer, then starting lineups, and then say you have a longer pregame, it's coach interview, feature story, last game highlights, and then usually you might take one more break and then launch in your game. So just wanted to record this quick video for you today, post it on Blackboard here so you have that, and hopefully that'll spur on ideas and make you think and make you get creative about your own pregame shows. Think about how you guys can do this in your games that you're assigned here for the class play-by-play, and then also doing games for Gaston College, usually one and the same, as we know, right? But again, this goes back to relationships. Get to know the head baseball coach. You guys have got an awesome baseball team. Get to know the softball coach. Get to know the basketball coaches and engender those relationships so that when it does come time for you to expand, do something a little different like that on the pregame show, they're probably not used to that, but it's training both for you and for them, right? Because eventually if those coaches move up, if you move up, you're going to be prepared for what's going to be a requirement of a more in-depth pregame show, your next job, whatever you want to do. Your next level. So yeah, I hope this was helpful. I hope this was informative and educating and educational. I hope everybody's doing well. Again, any questions, if you have my number, send me a text, shoot me an email. I'll be happy to answer any questions about these assignments. I think I've got the grading caught up. I only have one play-by-play that's due that needs to be graded, so I'll do that. But again, think about pregame shows. What do you want to include in them? What do you think the Gaston College audience wants to see in them? It's probably not you as much. It's probably the head coach. So think about that. Have a great rest of your week, everybody, and I'll see you in class next Monday. All right, bye-bye.